Hey everyone.
I'm Jane.
I'm Kitten.
As you know, my name is Pat. It's that time again. It's time for another episode of the Kinky Christian Podcast. So here we are again. Gotta love it, right?
Gotta.
Got another new episode of the Kinky Christian Podcast.
Yay.
Yay us, right? We're cruising right along. I'm Pat.
I'm Kitten.
And we are going to continue in our Genesis of Sex series with this one. Why stop now, right? We're on a roll.
Yeah.
Rock and roll. Don't give me the look.
I can give you the look.
I know you give me the look all the time. So
This chair is very uncomfortable.
is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be our next investment. I think we need some good studio chairs.
Yeah.
So before we get started, I know we already started. That doesn't make sense. Why, if we're already going,
Before
why
we
would I
get
say
started.
before we get started? Why do people do that?
Because I don't think about
I don't.
it.
Yeah, I don't get it. Before we get started, well, it's too late.
Yeah.
We're started.
You started the minute you said hello.
Exactly. So I just want to clear something up. I know in a previous episode when we were talking about the male to female ratio, I need to clear that up because I said it was like 3-1, and in reality it was like a 3% difference. So it was like 97 men to 100 women. So I misremembered that article I read. So I want to clear that up. It was not 3-1 female. It was a 3% difference. So for every 100 women, there's 97 men. Okay, so clear that up. I don't want to misinform anyone, and I really feel bad that I did that. So I want to make sure that's cleared up first. And then I want to share, I know I say, I had the strangest thing happen, and I know I told you about it, but it gets stranger because something happened today with this too. So a couple weeks ago, I got an email from this guy who's saying, hey, I saw your podcast, and, he said, I can't remember what everything he said in the email, but he started talking about guests, and, we have this, I represent this guy. I don't want to share the guy's name because I don't, want to go down that road, but he's like, I represent this guy. I'm his PR, and, he could come on your podcast as a guest and really, boost your listeners or your whatever. It was, and it seemed like just like a spam thing, because I get that a lot. So I ignored it, right? And then a week goes by, and this guy emails me again and says, hey, I haven't heard back from you. Would you like, so-and-so to be a guest on your podcast? And I'm like, okay, this guy's like a Christian motivational speaker. Like I said, I'm not going to mention the name, but so I'm like, I emailed the guy back. I'm like, have you checked out our podcast? I said, do you even know what our podcast is about? And I just left it at that. It was a short and sweet. 3 days later, I get an email back from this guy. Hey, thanks for asking that question. After checking out your podcast, we don't feel that your values and your podcast align with, so-and-so's. So I appreciate you, getting back to us and having me check it out first. So I thought that was kind of funny. I'm like, okay, so you're out there trying to get your dude on these podcasts just to get money, because you're going to pay for him to be a guest on your podcast, and you don't even know what you're trying to set him up in. Today,
Oh, boy.
I get an email from the dude himself. Now, it's just a spam mail. It's not like he personally emailed me. Hey, been thinking about you and praying for you and, hoping you're doing okay. And I ask that, you pray for me and my family. So I got put on this mailing list now.
Oh, boy.
So I'm going to have to try to figure that out. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. I thought it was kind of funny.
Kinda cute, actually.
We have some guy who's a Christian motivational speaker who him and his family are praying for us. And I'm like, okay.
That's good, because we need that.
Yeah, I agree. we all need prayer, and I got, if he wants me to pray for him, I will absolutely pray for him. But it's, it's not him. It's just a,
Right. It's just a.
I don't know what they call them. It's a spam mail that gets sent out from his organization. So, but yeah, I found that kind of funny.
Mailing list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, now that that's out of the way, we're gonna try to actually get going with what we wanted to talk about on this episode, which is sex, biblical sex. What? Right? And apparently that does not align with his values.
And that's okay.
And that's perfectly fine. So we're going to pick up where we left off in Genesis 34. And if, in case you don't remember, there was a lot going on with, Jacob and his wives and his concubines and everyone wanting kids. And it was just like, so we're going to keep going in that. And so we're going to start right at the beginning of Genesis 34. Oh, excuse me. Had a little bit of burp.
You're excused.
Oh, thank you. Our producer's talking to us. That doesn't happen often. It was an important, Mr. Producer.
It was a don't look at me.
Oh. don't look at the producer.
It's just a little weird sitting out here. That's all.
we moved our studio again to another location, and so now instead of being in a separate room as our producer, we're in the same room as our producer. So we're like staring at him, and I'm sure we're gonna
beautiful bald head.
We're gonna make him uncomfortable. And then, all right. Back to Genesis 34. Are you going to read or you want me to read?
It's your turn.
Is it my turn?
Mm.
So we don't have much to go. It's only 7 verses. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, had borne the... Let me start again. Now Dinah, the daughter Leah had borne to Jacob.
Yes.
Got that right. Which is why they mentioned Dinah previously. Went out to visit the women of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor the Hivite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and raped her. Again, no bueno. That is a no bueno. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob. He loved the young woman and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as my wife." I feel like we did this one already. But we don't have it checked off.
It's not checked off. Doesn't mean that,
Yeah.
We'll just do 2.
If we did it already, I apologize. It's been a little bit, work schedules have been nuts. Anyway, he said, "Get me this girl as my wife." When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock. So he did nothing about it until they came home.
Do this one.
Which is good, because someone go and lay the smack down on someone. Mm-hmm. Then Shechem's father, Hamor, went out to talk with Jacob. Meanwhile, Jacob's sons had come in from the fields as soon as they heard what happened. So apparently the grapevine back then was just as quick as the grapevine now, Hey, did you hear?
Kind of like little towns.
Yeah, and they didn't have them cans with strings.
No.
So they were shocked and furious because Shechem had done an outrageous thing in Israel by sleeping with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done.
Yeah, I think we did this one.
Yeah, I feel like we did this one. Mm-hmm. So I apologize if we did. That should not have happened. We should be better than that.
Whoopsies.
Someone didn't check it off, Kitten.
I completely dropped the ball.
So that's just a bonus. You get the recap of...
Get a recap of somebody being naughty.
Yeah. So we know now, again, rape, wrong.
Rape is wrong.
Don't do it.
And if you say that you loved this woman, that you wanted this woman as your wife, why would you do that?
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it.
because guys are stupid, and who knows if this Shechem was, young,
Yeah, that's true.
16, 17, and the hormones are running wild, and
Yeah, and he didn't actually say he loved her. He was just drawn to her.
right. So anyway,
Whoopsies.
so rape wrong. That's why this is in there.
Yep.
So now we're gonna jump to Genesis 35.
And it is 22.
Yeah. 35, verse 22. Just a single verse.
22. Wow.
This one, yeah. Here we go. You want to read this one, or shall I?
While in Israel, while Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah, and Israel heard of it. Jacob had 12 sons.
No, that's just a note on there.
That's really confusing. Because he slept with his dad's concubine?
Right, but remember when Jacob, which is Israel, they changed Jacob's name to Israel, right?
Oh, context.
But because Bilhah was like Leah's maiden that she gave to Jacob to marry and have kids with, so that way she would have kids, remember?
Yes.
So now they call her a concubine, even though in previous things they said
she was a wife.
So no matter how you look at it, the dude went in and slept with his dad's woman. So if you let's see the following verses after that. We'll see why I didn't put them in there.
After or before?
No.
Previous.
Yeah. So let's go down to the bottom there. Nope. The verses, not the chapters. Scroll down. Oh.
Listen, do you want to drive?
So, that's why. Because then it goes, and then so it talks about him sleeping with his dad's concubine, and then it just goes into talking about his sons. That's why I didn't include it. All right.
That's dumb.
Yeah. So anyway, I just included that in there because I found it kind of odd that he went in to sleep with his dad's woman.
Oh. Yeah.
That seems weird. Who knows what the age difference was back then?
True.
And it doesn't say if it was like consensual or, yeah.
You boys and your penises.
Well, if we didn't have a penis, then
we wouldn't have children.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be a happy kitten.
You would not be a happy kitten if you did not have penis around. All right, so now we're going to jump ahead to Genesis 36. And we're going to start at verse 2. It's just 2 verses, 2 and 3.
Okay.
So Esau took his wives from the women. I put this in there because it says wives. Esau took his wives. So again, multiple women back then. Mm-hmm. So he took his wives from the women of Canaan. Ada, daughter of Elon the Hittite, not Elon Musk, Elon the Hittite. And Oholibamah, daughter of Anan and granddaughter of Zibeon the Hivite. Also Basemath, daughter of Ishmael and sister of Nebaioth. So just showing you that, again, multiple wives. Nothing special about that one other than that.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to pull out everything so that way, we get an idea of biblical relationships, what's right, what's wrong, what they did, So that's why that's in there. Then we jump down, same thing, Genesis 36, and we jump down to verse 12.
Esau's son Eliphaz also had a concubine named Timnah, who bore him Amalek. These were grandsons of Esau's wife Adah.
Yeah. So, concubines. And he's having kids with them. So they're not married. They're concubines. Or are they married?
I don't think they...
Because they called Bilhah a wife and then a concubine, so...
a concubine. Maybe because she...
Maybe concubines are after the first wife. Or maybe concubines are maidens that you get given to you that they're, less... I don't know.
Yeah. Well, she was a wife. And then maybe she...
And Bilhah, yes.
Maybe she got divorced in some fashion or another and got booted back down to concubine because she ticked off the first wife.
Is a divorce with conjugal visits? Is that what that was?
Could be. Oh, I got the itchies. Sorry.
That's okay. All right.
The next one's a huge.
The next one's big.
Huge.
It's like really big. So we'll probably do this one and then we'll call this episode because this is big. So we're going to go to Genesis 38. And it's like almost a whole... Plus, well, we might do more because after this, where it would be done, this will be the end of Genesis if we do this one and the next one.
Okay.
So, you want me to read this one? Since it's a lot.
Well, it's your turn anyway.
I didn't know we were taking turns.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start at the first verse in Genesis 38. At that time, Judah left his brothers and went down to stay with a man of Adullam named Hurrah. There Judah met the daughter of a Canaanite man named Shua. He married her and made love to her. Oh, I think this is the first making love in the Bible. Usually it's slept with or raped or had sex with. He made love to her. That's a tender man right there.
About time.
She became pregnant and gave birth to a son who was named She conceived again and gave birth to a son and named him Onan. She gave birth to still another son and named him Shelah. It was at Kesbeth that she gave birth to him. Judah got a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death.
Oof.
Yeah. No soup for you.
Yeah. Goodness.
Then Judah said to Onan, "Sleep with your brother's wife and fulfill your duty to her as a brother-in-law to raise up offspring for your brother." So, brother dies because God kills him. And he goes to his next son and says, "Hey, go sleep with your brother's wife." But Onan knew that the child would not be his. So whenever he slept with his brother's wife, he spilled his semen to the ground to keep from providing offspring for his brother. What he did was wicked in the Lord's sight, so the Lord put him to death also. Now, this part of it is really important because there is a lot of people that talk about, especially when it comes to like masturbation.
Yeah, they use this
and they use this verse, at least in my experience, and your experiences are different, and may vary, but they use this verse to say, "Do not spill your semen on the ground because it is wicked." That is not what they're saying.
Because he didn't listen to God.
Well, yeah, he did not provide offspring.
Yeah.
His intent was to intentionally not give her children. Has nothing to do with him spilling his seed on the ground. It's his intent.
His disobedience.
Right. You were told, go give her children to fulfill your brother's family. And he's like, nope, pulled out. That's why I think this is like really important, because a lot of people in our lives have said, oh, well, it's wrong to masturbate because God says don't spill your semen on the ground. That is not what it's saying.
No.
When you read it in context, he slept with her. He spilled his semen on the ground to keep from providing offspring.
So he got his thrill and just basically kicked her to the side and didn't give her what he was.
Yes. Kind of like, now get out.
Now get out. Yep.
And then he went and watched Newhart.
Rude.
Right? Yeah, so that I think is super important to have in there. Okay. So Judah then said, how far am I going on this one? Did I mark it? I might have just done the whole thing.
That's all the way down to 25 that I can see here.
26, yeah.
26.
Okay. So then Judah, where am I at? 11. Then Judah said to his daughter-in-law Tamar, live as a widow in your father's household until my son Shelah grows up. For he thought he may die too, just like his brothers. So Tamar went to live in her father's household. So now the next brother has to go do the deed,
After he grows up a little bit.
Right. After a long time, Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, died. When Judah had recovered from his grief, he went up to Timnah, to the men who were shearing his sheep, and his friend Hira, the Abdullamite, went with him. When Tamar was told, your father-in-law is on his way to Timnah to shear his sheep, she took off her widow's clothes, covered herself with a veil to disguise herself, and then sat down at the entrance to Enaim, which is on the road to Timnah. For she saw that though Shelah had now grown up, she had not been given to him as his wife. Oh, you freaked me out when you scrolled. Here. Okay. My eyes were so... When Judah saw her, he thought she was a prostitute, for she had covered her face. Not realizing that she was his daughter-in-law, he went over to her by the roadside and said, come now, let me sleep with you. So, my wife's dead. I'm looking for a hooker.
Wow.
Right? And what will you give me to sleep with me, she asked. I'll send you a young goat from my flock, he said. So you're worth a goat. And we have Morpheus.
We have a visitor.
So for those of you who are new to the show, this is our son's kitty, Morpheus. And he likes to get involved in
all things.
So don't be surprised if you see him again here and there. I apologize if you don't like cats. So she's worth a goat. That poon-tangalang is worth a goat.
That's just wrong.
Right? Will you give me something as a pledge until you send it, she asked. He said, what pledge should I give you? Your seal and its cord, and the staff in your hand. Which staff is in his hand?
Ha! You're funny.
She answered. So he gave them to her and slept with her, and she became pregnant by him. Oof. After she left, she took off her veil and put on her widow's clothes again. Meanwhile, Judah sent the young goat by his friend, the Abdullamite, in order to get his pledge back from the woman, but he did not find her. He asked the men who lived there, where is the shrine prostitute who is beside the road at Enaim? There hasn't been any shrine prostitute here, they said. A shrine prostitute.
That's so high-class hoes.
Some high-class hoes.
Whoop.
So he went back to Judah and said, I didn't find her. Besides, the men who lived there said there hasn't been any shrine prostitutes here. Then Judah said, let her keep what she has, or we will become a laughingstock, After all, I did send her this young goat, but you didn't find her. So in other words, hey, I was trying to keep my word, give it a beast. But now
she wanted the baby anyway.
Well, she got a baby by her daddy-in-law.
Yeah, she just wanted the baby.
About 3 months later, Judah was told, your daughter-in-law Tamar is guilty of prostitution, and as a result, she is now pregnant. Judah said, bring her out and have her burned to death.
Wow.
Right? As she was being brought out, she sent a message to her father-in-law, I am pregnant by the one who owns these, she said, and she added, see if you recognize whose seal and cord and staff these are.
Booyah.
Mic drop, right? But why would you do that? That's just crazy.
Just mean.
Judah recognized him and said, she is more righteous than I, since I wouldn't give her to my son Shelah. And he did not sleep with her again. So, that was a whole lot.
And she had twins.
Of family drama. You know what I mean? So, take that one and do something with that, because that's just a lot.
Wow.
So, we're going to finish Genesis off so that way we can start into...
Where am I going?
You are going to Genesis 39, verse 9. Just let's go to,
I'm going to start with verse 8, just because it's the beginning. Is that okay?
You might want to start here then.
Start here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because now we're like going further along now, so...
Okay. Now Joseph was well built and handsome.
And he had a Technicolor dream coat.
And after a while, his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, come to bed with me. But he refused. With me in charge, he told her, my master does not concern himself with anything in the house. Everything he owns, he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God? And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her.
So.
He's righteous.
That's why I put that in there. You know.
Finally, we have a righteous man. No, I mean, there was a few in there.
But yeah. How could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God by sleeping with another man's wife?
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, I didn't put it in there just because he's righteous, but I put it in there because it shows how sleeping with another man's wife is sinning against God. It's a wicked thing and sinning against God.
Well, that's not the first time that's been...
Right. I know, and I'm trying to include everything.
Yeah.
You know. That's kind of why we're doing that. I want to get as much out there as we can of things that the church doesn't put out there. So if it doesn't do anything for you, if it doesn't mean anything to you, pass this one by and, move on to the next one. But that's why I put that in there, because it says that's a wicked thing and a sin against God to sleep with another man's woman. Wife. Apparently not concubine.
Not concubines.
You notice how on that one, though, it's talked about he went in and slept with his dad concubine and then just left it and said, his dad had 12 sons.
Yeah.
And we're just going to brush that one under the carpet.
Yeah.
So, all right. So there you go. We are actually done with the book of Genesis.
Thank God.
Yay, us.
Yay.
Right? So now we're going to move on to Exodus. And... Huh?
Closing that down.
You shut that down there, kitten. So, yeah, we're done. This was kind of a long one. Kind of went off the rails a few times, but hey, we got it done.
I was going to say, when do we not go off the rails, Master?
I don't know. Sometimes. There's got to be a couple times that we have not like veered.
Maybe before I got here. I don't know.
Do you not watch these before you started?
I don't watch these. Are you kidding me?
That's mean. That hurts my feelings. So next time we get into this stuff, we will be in Exodus. That's one book down, 65 to go.
We got this.
We got this. So until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and God bless.